To everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. That despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere, people will wait in line to see.
To everyone who can't stand it when I win, guess what? I'm still showing up just like the winged victory of Samothrace. That masterpiece arrived at the Louvre in broken pieces, and people still line up around the block to see her. Cracks, flaws, missing parts, and still iconic. Same goes for me. Every premiere, crowds still show up. But now, let's talk about someone who isn't having a victorious moment. Rachel Zegler just hit absolute rock bottom. In a jaw-dropping twist that caught even Hollywood off guard, Disney is quietly yanking Snow White from shelves and screens like it was never even made. Theatres are empty, billions down the drain. And here's the kicker. Insiders say Disney is now scrapping every planned woke reboot moving forward. That's a major shift. But the real storm, it's Rachel. After months of backlash and those brutal, embarrassing box office numbers, she's unraveling in real time. Meltdowns during live streams, chaotic interviews, and spirals that have fans seriously worried. The spotlight's turning into a spotlight she can't handle. And with her Hollywood future dangling by a thread, people are wondering, how did it all go so wrong? Why is Disney pretending Snow White never even happened? Things got so bad that even theatre owners, who had contracts forcing them to show Snow White, started rebelling. They begged Disney to let them pull the plug early, reporting dismal attendance, even during weekend showings. This is wild. You don't want to miss what comes next. Smash that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe if you want to stay in the loop with the biggest meltdowns, controversies, and comebacks in Hollywood. In a lot of places, theatre owners didn't even wait for Disney's green light. They straight up swapped Snow White out for anything else they could get their hands on. Popcorn in the machines, projectors running, but no one in the seats. Then came that video, the one that lit the internet on fire. A fan posted a short clip from inside a Snow White screening, and it was beyond embarrassing. The camera pans across the theatre, and it's a ghost town. Not kinda quiet. We're talking completely empty. You could count the audience on one hand and still have fingers left. The energy? It felt more like a last-minute school assembly than a hyped Disney premiere. One person narrates, "Okie dokie, I'm walking into Snow White, 2 p.m. Now, seating. Let's see how empty it is. I hope it's off to the flop we go." Then they pause, and you hear it. Silence. 1, 2. Okay, 2. That's it. 2 people. And if you thought it couldn't get worse, buckle up. Overseas, the backlash went next level. In Lebanon, they didn't just cancel showtimes, they banned the movie altogether. Gone from theatres, streaming, everything. Officially, Snow White isn't even allowed to be imported. That's how deep the rejection went. And just when you think Disney's done taking hits, the real burn comes. Whispers started swirling inside the studio. Executives reportedly cringed hearing this comparison from insiders. This is worse than Lilo and Stitch. Ouch! Hit that like, drop your take in the comments, and subscribe to catch every shocking twist in this Hollywood disaster saga. Yup, believe it or not, that quirky little tropical cartoon, Lilo and Stitch, started outtracking Snow White's entire US box office haul just in its opening weekend. And let's be real, this wasn't some Marvel-level blockbuster or a mega Pixar hit. It was a sweet girl and her chaotic alien pup. But still, it absolutely smashed Snow White into dust like it was nothing. And don't even get started on the merch. Total disaster. Disney tried to play it smart by sending out limited batches of Snow White dolls, t-shirts, mugs, hoping scarcity would boost demand. But months later, shelves are still full. You can walk into stores today and see Snow White gear just collecting dust. At this point, Disney couldn't give it away if they tried. Now let's talk about the name in the eye of this storm. Rachel Zegler. Once a rising star, now she's the internet's favourite target. And some say she's the reason everything's crumbling. Castmates turning on each other, projects getting shut down, and Disney's whole live-action strategy on life support. But what's coming next ain't just a money loss. It's straight-up public betrayal, career sabotage, and raw breakdowns all caught on camera. The fall of Snow White wasn't just box office. It was internal collapse, and the cracks started leaking out. The first red flag? Gal Gadot. In an interview, she didn't exactly throw Rachel under the bus, but she definitely didn't save her either. When asked about the backlash, Gal stayed cool, but made her position clear. She pointed fingers at the suits upstairs, calling it a misalignment at the corporate level. Translation? Not my mess. Smash that like button, drop your thoughts below, and subscribe for the next wave of drama, chaos, and Hollywood shake-ups. When you're making a movie, there's one thing that matters more than anything else: teamwork. Especially when you're working with iconic roles like Snow White and the Evil Queen. You'd expect the cast and crew to come together, vibe creatively, and build something magical. But, according to Gal Gadot, that's not what happened here. She straight up admitted there was no real sense of teamwork on set. There were constant setbacks, roadblocks, and behind-the-scenes drama that made the whole experience feel exhausting. And then came the real eyebrow raiser. When Gal was asked directly if she'd share more about her experience with Rachel Zegler, her answer was cold and calculated. "I'll talk about that when I feel comfortable." Just one sentence. But it blew up 10,000 rumours instantly. She added, "Those who follow me will be satisfied when I'm more comfortable to share more details on the specifics. But for now, it's not the right time." Boom. That was all fans needed to hear. The message was loud and clear. Something went very wrong on that set. Gal didn't name names or start drama, but her silence said everything. It gave off major "I'm keeping receipts" energy. And while Gal stayed classy, Rachel's other co-star Andrew Byrne took a whole different route. He ghosted the entire premiere. No press, no interviews, no red carpet. Nada. But here's the kicker. Rachel had already teased this before it even happened. At a press event, she casually dropped that Andrew's scenes might get cut from the film. Her exact words: "All of Andrew's scenes could get cut." And guess what? They basically were. Now fans are buzzing with theories about what really went down behind the cameras. And who's telling the full story? Hit that like button, sound off in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss the next bombshell in this wild Hollywood unraveling. But it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful, Rachel Zegler once said. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess. Until 2024, that is. Because apparently, all of Andrew Byrne's scenes could get cut. Her words. Not a rumour. She said it. Now imagine this. You put in months of blood, sweat, and hustle for a Disney movie, only for your own co-star to go public and suggest you might not even make the final cut. Brutal. It's no surprise Andrew skipped the red carpet. This wasn't just bad vibes. It was straight up toxic behind the scenes. But then Disney made their boldest move yet. No announcement, no statement. Tangled, their next big live-action adaptation, was axed. Quietly. Just like that. Poof. Gone. No trailer, no teaser, nothing. It vanished from the schedule like it never existed. And, sure, Disney didn't officially blame Snow White, but, come on, it doesn't take a genius to connect the dots. Tangled was supposed to be the next billion-dollar reboot, the golden child of their live-action strategy. And guess who was reportedly being lined up to play Rapunzel? Rachel Zegler. After the backlash, the drama, and the disastrous box office, Disney wasn't about to double down on a gamble. This wasn't just about changing the cast. This was about rewriting the whole game plan. Tangled would have needed a giant budget, a ton of CGI, fan trust, and another big PR push wrapped around one star. And with the internet already dragging Disney through the mud, they weren't willing to go through it all again. This kind of decision doesn't just fall from the sky. It happens when the studio believes the lead is part of the problem. Like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay on top of every twist, cancellation, and casting bombshell. What we're witnessing isn't just a flop. It's a full-blown industry rejection. Actors are backing out, studios are cancelling sequels, and directors are ducking questions like they were never involved. And right at the centre of this Hollywood chaos, Rachel Zegler still taking all the heat. But nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to what happened next. After months of hyping the movie, showing up for interviews, and telling fans that Snow White would change everything, Rachel ended up sitting in one of the emptiest theatres of her entire career. And yeah, it was caught on camera. Before the film dropped, Rachel was confident. Maybe a little too confident. She told fans they'd be lining up to watch, promised a groundbreaking twist on the classic story, and even claimed her version would fix the outdated original. She doubled down hard, and fans remembered every word. But reality came swinging back. When the backlash started heating up online, Rachel posted a shaky, emotional video to Instagram, trying to hold it together. You could see the cracks. She looked like she was about to break. Her voice wavered, her expression said it all. The internet had turned on her. Clips from her press interviews were being clipped, mocked, and reposted with brutal commentary. The same bold energy she had before the release, it vanished overnight. Suddenly, it was all about damage control, and her tone flipped fast. Then came that quote, the one that had people talking for days. In what sounded like a desperate attempt to reclaim her image, Rachel said, "Thank you. Everyone who hates when I win." The winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and in everything I do, people will wait in line to see. Powerful? Maybe. But for a lot of people, it came too late. Smash that like, sound off in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. This saga's just getting started, and we've got more twists coming your way. Then came that theatre moment, the one that went viral for all the wrong reasons. Rachel Zegler showed up to a screening of her own movie, flowers in hand, smiling like it was a celebration. She posted it online like it was a victory lap. But the camera, it didn't lie. The theatre was almost completely empty. Just a handful of people scattered in the seats, No buzz, no applause, just silence. It looked more like a Tuesday morning matinee than a Hollywood premiere. What was meant to be a power move turned into a punchline. The internet did what it always does. Memes exploded. One called it Snow White and the 7 empty seats. Another said she brought flowers to her own movie's funeral. Some joked it looked like she was giving a press tour to a ghost town. And then, boom, came the numbers. Despite Disney's full-blown marketing push and a global release, Snow White couldn't even break $100 million in the US box office. That's a disaster by Disney standards. The film was bleeding money fast. And it didn't stop there. Its IMDb score dropped like a rock, becoming one of the lowest-rated modern Disney releases ever. Critics and fans weren't just disappointed. They were united in dragging it. The narrative had flipped entirely. Rachel wasn't being praised for challenging tradition. She was getting blamed for destroying it. But the knockout blow? It came from the last place anyone expected. Minecraft. Yup. The live-action Minecraft movie dropped just weeks after Snow White and immediately crushed it at the box office. A movie folks laughed off as too silly, too basic, too for kids. It turned out to be exactly what audiences wanted. Fun, no drama, and actually made for the fans. While Snow White was crawling to triple digits, Minecraft flew past it like it wasn't even competition. Hit that like, drop your reactions below and subscribe, because the drama's not over and Hollywood just got a reality check. No politics, no lectures, no controversies, just blocks, zombies, and Jack Black screaming into a mic. And that's what won. While Snow White tried to sell a message, Minecraft gave people what they actually wanted. Fun. And just like that, Disney's most expensive princess reboot started looking like a parody of itself. And trust, Hollywood noticed. Insiders started whispering that studios are now rethinking Rachel Zegler's future. Roles she was once lined up for? Suddenly looking shaky. There's talk that Disney isn't willing to take another risk backing her in future reboots. Not after the Snow White fallout. The same Rachel who was once hyped as a breakout star, the future face of live-action fairy tales, is now stuck facing the hardest question of her career. Can she bounce back? Or did this one movie end the ride before it really began? While Rachel scrambles to recover, there's already another storm brewing, and it's coming from the animated world. That's right, the roast isn't over. The next hits, Simpsons and Family Guy. And if you thought South Park went hard, just wait till these two start tearing into the Snow White saga. You don't want to miss it. The internet's sharpening its knives, and the memes are about to get even more savage. So smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and hit that subscribe. We've got more drama, more chaos, and more Hollywood meltdowns coming your way.